Hi, you guys, it's Ruby from Oofy Scraps, and today I am sharing yet another story in my December Daily album from 2022. So, again, going back in time to these projects I worked on earlier in the year and sharing them in efforts to give a little inspo for this year's December Daily project. So, this is going to be stories 10 and 11, I believe. So, story number 10, I'm working off of this grid paper that is very Ali Edwards. I mean, it's from Ali Edwards, but she loves a grid. So I felt like I was channeling her. And it's a great option for when you have a lot of photos. So this was all about the Christmas cookie party we had last year. So we invited our friends over and everyone brought different cookie recipes and we all just laid them out, ate a bunch of cookies. We played cornhole, we took pictures, we played board games. It was super fun. It was also really rainy. So the last video shared story 9, 8, and 9. And 9 is all about rainy days. And this is actually the same day as that story. So if you're thinking, how am I possibly going to have 25 interesting stories to tell? Not saying that stories about rain are the most exciting, but I was able to tell two stories in one day. And that just worked out for what I needed this year. So just something to keep in mind. But basically, what I've done is I've cut my photos all to the size of one of those squares. And they're a little bit wider than they are tall. And then one photo I left long. So the photo that's kind of to the right, bottom right. And then in the other spaces, I'm adding different embellishments. So right here, I have a little vellum circle that's got gold on it. And then I put one of those cute little fabric phrase strips. And I'm just stitching through that with a little red embroidery floss just to add a bit of color and texture. Then I'm taping all of my photos down. On that first farthest left row, or is it a column? I did that rubber Merry Everything, I don't know, embellishment that I got from a really old Ali Edwards kit. And then right here, I think it says Holly Jolly. It's just like a green, like a emerald green with a gold, what is that, a hexagon? One, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, hexagon. Had to count the sides. So I cut most of the gold off, but just left a little bit of that and sort of made it so it was sort of tucked behind that photo, or at least sort of appeared to be. Did a little staple through that, of course. And then the bottom right, I have another um, rubber piece. I don't know if that stays on or if I switch it out for something else. But yeah, then I'm just stapling or sticking down some more of my photos. I have a photo with my friend Sierra, who I don't see very often. That was fun. Olivia came, who is my best friend. Mark came, who's my friend from high school that we coach with. And then our friend Sam also came. He is our friend from college. So it was a pretty good turnout, pretty good variety of people. Now I'm adding a few tiny word stickers. That photo on the top right area is a picture of the dogs. They dropped a ball in the pool and we're just sitting there we're going to jump in and get it. Kind of treacherous. It's pouring rain. We don't want the dogs to be soaking wet, sort of a thing. Very typical in this house. And that larger photo is of Mark and Steven. They're playing cornhole. And I think that you can maybe see in the teeny tiny background the other people on the other side. For my number, I went with just a red glitter 10 that I cut out with my Big Shot manual die cutting tool. And I just went ahead and glued those down. I did contemplate doing the gold ones, but the red ones I just thought worked better with what I had already going on here. And then I think I add these green Christmas trees. You can see the top right of the layout. There's some green glitter Christmas trees that are again from an old Ali Edwards collection. I think I add those down. And I also add, I think, a cork star maybe. But right here I have that tiny phrase sticker and I added just a little gold brad. Those are from Michaels. I love them. It's like a little gold star brad. So I'm just poking that hole, making sure it's the right size. And then I will open that up and get it all secured in the back. But yeah, this is a fun way of using a variety of embellishments. It's a good way to use up your stash, but it also doesn't require too much stuff. It wasn't a very stuff heavy page at the same time. Okay, so I lied. I thought I put a cork star down, but I actually just put journaling down. And maybe I don't put the Christmas trees down. Maybe I put journaling in both slots. I don't remember. But yeah, doing a little journaling. My handwriting is not the prettiest. I work on it. I try and write slow, but, it is what it is. I also feel like even if you don't like your handwriting, it's cool to look back, like in 50 years for someone to look back and like see my actual handwriting. It puts like a really human touch to scrapbooking, which I think is really cool and special. So I'm just writing away, writing my story. I don't actually have this in front of me, so I can't read you off the journaling, but my laundry machine is on. If you didn't know, my scrapbook room is in the laundry room basically, so it's too noisy to record in there. But, anyways, now moving on to story number 11. This one is super simple. So, I coach track, which you all probably know, and in the winter season, we just get started with preseason training. So, the actual track season is in the spring. So, we started winter track, and one of our coaches is like a mom, and she's kind of like our team mom. And she made these really cute little, like, silver and red, or just red and white metallic cups full of treats with like little chocolate covered Buckeyes and like, little treats. And she brought them to all of us at practice, which I thought was super cute. So, this is again, like, this is not some big, crazy story. It's just like a simple little thing that brought me joy this day. And what I'm doing is using one of these 4x4 frames from Allie Edwards. I think it was from the 2022 collection. Maybe it was from 2021. I don't remember. But one of these frames, I think it either says like December Joys or it says December Stories. Took a photo of the little treat box, like bag situation she had given us. And I have the track in the background, so I know it's like track related. And then I'm just going to put that photo behind this little frame. And then I actually kept the little cup that the treats were in and cut it down, which you can see at the top left. And I'm going to create a little pocket with that. So I'm just going to adhere the photo into the frame and make sure everything adhered down to the page. And then I will go ahead and create a really simple pocket with the ephemera itself. And then I will use that little red tag to write the story on the back. So this is so simple. I like using a more busy pattern paper for something like this because it does, keeps the page feeling complete, but, it is really simple. So having something a little more busy and fun kind of makes it feel more fulfilled. So I had two different cuts of this little ephemera. One had more of an angled edge and one was more of a straight edge. I liked the angled edge better. Just adding adhesive to 3 of the sides, leaving the top open so it can actually be a functioning pocket. And then made sure that I left room for that tag, lining everything up, and then I will adhere it all down. One piece of advice for doing little tags like this, I think it's probably better to stitch than to use adhesive because the adhesive becomes like a sticky problem sometimes. But once you adhere it down, make sure you do it with whatever you're tucking inside of it so it gives that little wiggle room. So there's actually room to pull it in and out. If you just adhere it down without the stuff inside of it, it kind of can make it so like it gets too tight. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm doing with this washi tape. I guess looking for a straight edge. Okay. I'm just adhering the picture down and then I'll adhere the frame on top of it. So that washi was just like a little guide for me. Look at me being all mathematical pre-planning. Also, my paper or my pictures are like somewhat glossy and I find that they get so fingerprinty, especially when I'm working outside of the page protector, which I often am. And a little trick is just like using your sweatshirt or your shirt sleeve to like buff off all the little hand printiness. Can be really helpful. So now I'm using just really thin score tape to adhere all the edges of this frame down, and then I will stick it right on top of the photo, and then I will adhere down that one little pocket. So again, loved the way this came out. Again, am very red forward page. I will say green is my favorite color, so we're definitely needing some more green in this album at this point, but I do get a few more spreads in here that are a little more green oriented. I just think that a lot of product is made predominantly in red. I just feel like red's the more popular color across the board, but I am definitely a green girl. True and true green girl. So yeah, just adhering this down and then got my little tape here. Gonna pull that off and you'll see when I adhere it down, I leave the tag underneath it to again give that little space so that there's room for it to fit in and out. Got it all straight along the bottom there. And then I do end up stitching around this pocket just by hand with some embroidery floss. I think that looks really cute. And of course, because it's a tag, I gotta have a ribbon inside of it because, it's just part of the thing. If there's a hole and a tag, I want to put ribbon through it. So I think I just go for this glittery red ribbon that's pretty old from Michaels. Nothing to write home about, but it works pretty well. So I'll just string it through and I use my stapler to staple that on. And then I will write the story just right on the back. I'm pretty sure. I think the back of this is sort of neutral enough to write on. I don't remember. I definitely write the story on the back. I just don't know if it's directly on the back or if I had to line it. And then I will put the number 11 right onto that tag. Oh yeah, this is super easy to write on. So I'm going to put the date down with my date stamp, stamping in red ink, which is pretty uncommon for me. I'm pretty much only stamping in black ink 97% of the time. I do have some colored ink, and I did play around with that a little bit in my Thanksgiving scrapbook, which was fun. I just am always afraid. I'm not sure what it's going to look like. And I feel like black ink, it's obvious I know what it's going to look like, but with colors and stamping on non-white paper, it's kind of a risk. So this was fun. Red is good. It's a pretty bold color, so it works out. But yeah, I just add a little journaling on there about the gift and the fun stuff about track season and stuff like that. Letting that dry. And then I'm going to add the 11 directly onto this tag using a stamp set from Ali Edwards and embossing ink. So I thought about doing it right onto the tag, but then I decided I would just cut it out of some paper. So I'm just using some white cardstock, stamping an 11, using my little brush to brush off anything extra. And then I will heat emboss that and cut out the 11 and then just stick it right down onto the card. And it just turns out super cute. I don't have silver anywhere else on this spread, but it doesn't really bother me. I guess because like white and silver kind of feel like they go hand in hand. I mean, I guess that gray, what's it called? The gray frame is sort of like in the silver family. Silver is definitely in the gray family to me. So doing that, doing the little magic of the heat embosser, and then I will do another one, same process, and tape that all down. But yeah, I definitely love embossing and do it a little bit more throughout the album. I emboss kind of a decent amount of things. It's something I definitely don't remember to do the rest of the year, but it just creates such a cool impact. It's a good texture, it's very permanent, and it's also just kind of a fun process. So I'm a big fan of embossing. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I just told you guys all this stuff. I actually am doing like a sampling of embossing, and I also think I stamp it in red to see what I like best. I might fast forward you through this because basically I just end up doing silver and this is kind of boring. So I might cut some of this out and then we'll just skip to the part where I actually decide. All right, and with the power of editing, here we all are, just ready to heat emboss. So I actually do heat emboss right onto the tag. You can see on the top left, those are all my little options, but I ended up going with the silver and I love it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this story. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one for story 12, I think we're on. So just cruising through it. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Bye.